Hello everybody, it is Sunday the 7th of May. I want to talk about the divine matrix versus the image of the beast, because the beast has created an image that will get so strong that even the elect will be deceived, and I can see that happening at the moment. There were those that were on the right path, thinking about this as a divine matrix, that are now turning and they're starting to talk about, this could be an artificial matrix created by technology, by an alien race and created by technology. And they're going into staring at the image of the beast, considering the image of the beast, and not the underlying truth, which is it is a divine matrix, not an artificial one. So, divine matrix means it is created of God, and God is spirit. It is a matrix created by the spirit. Technology, obviously, you're creating energies through machines. I say they are creating images to our thoughts, because this is a spiritual awakening, and really hold on to that thought. It's a spiritual awakening. It is an awakening to the knowledge of ourselves as spiritual beings. Yeah? And thoughts that come up in us and that make the rounds as words are coming out of the spiritual knowledge of ourselves. And every time such a word or such a phrase comes up and makes the rounds, they create an image to give us a possible interpretation of what those words may mean, and taking us away from the spiritual truth. So things that we get concerned about, deep down, get concerned about, and we create a word like environment. Yeah? And then, they are hearing this, obviously, through the internet, and they are like, oh, look at the little light specks. They're getting concerned about environments. Well, let's give them an image to that. Yeah? So they have somewhere where they can focus their energy on the image of environmental change. So we are going to create environmental change in this world, so they can glue themselves to roads and whatever, to go up against that. I want to show you how this environmental change actually works on a spiritual level. And it is a bit like, it's not like the image is detached from the spiritual underlying truth, because it is not. The image reacts in the exact same way in this physical environment. So I was, thinking about Bruce Lipton talking about cells in a body. We are cells in a spiritual body. And he says if you put the cell into a petri dish and you change the environment, the cell will change. Yeah? A different spiritual environment, not a physical one, a spiritual environment, and the cell will change. The spiritual cell will change. And the best example for that I could find was really thinking about doctors and what happened over the last 2 years. Again, you're looking at the physical, look at the flow of spiritual energy inside of the structure that they've built, and then see the being change inside of that structure. Because everybody was saying, what on earth were the doctors doing, during these last 2 years? What has happened to them? And When you think about it in that way, you can put it to a lot of other institutions as well, where the same thing has happened, and you're standing there and saying, what are those that are working inside of those institutions doing, or what do they think they're doing? It makes no sense whatsoever. So, the way doctors or hospitals used to function, was that the doctors had the knowledge, and although there was a hierarchy inside of a hospital and different knowledges that fulfilled different functions, nurses, junior doctors going up to consultants, the knowledge was shared inside of that structure. So there was no junior doctor that had a patient and was wondering what to do, would go to another doctor or even to a consultant, and that doctor or consultant would say, I'm not going to tell you, that's my knowledge. And I'm not going to share it with you. And, or maybe you can pay me, Junior doctor pay the consultant for the knowledge. That didn't happen. That knowledge was shared because it should serve the patient. It was the concern of healing another part of the community, or of this community that is humanity. And that is how it functioned, and they all functioned in that way. But then, that is how the energy actually flowed. Energy and knowledge flowed from one to the other to serve healing of whoever came into that hospital. Again, it used to be without judgment. There's a lot of judgment there now. Who's allowed to be saved and not? But then, and here is the thing, they built a hierarchy, a pyramid above that shop floor. Managers, junior managers, senior managers, managers for finance, managers for this, managers for that. The top is connected to ministries of health, which are again connected to WHO. Pharma has got his fingers in everywhere. So there is a structure now on top of the doctors, and there is a flow of energy, that is now pressuring down on the doctors. And that is, folks, that is fear. Those are words, commandments that are coming down. That is spiritual energy. Spiritual is not out there in space. We are spiritual beings that are creating spiritual energy. So, and that is spiritual energy, actually. A new spiritual environment. Doctors are working in a new spiritual environment. They are now at the bottom, where they were the knowledge and they were the ones in charge. They are now at the bottom, with pressure coming from above. So what happened to the doctors in the last few years? They've started to behave like drones. They changed with their environment. They became drones, following orders from above. But really, look at it on the level of energy, vibrations, of thoughts, emotions, spoken words, intentions. That's a spiritual level. And then see that the person has changed in this new, the cell changed in the environment. And that is looking at it on the level of energy, of our energies. So, how did this start? And I would say it is the also enlightened ones that created the mess in the first place. And here is really, it is the desire of man, the daughters of man, the desires, that connected to the tree of life, that stretched out the hand, spiritual hand, desire, going out, finding answers from the tree of life. Again, the spiritual way, connecting to something else, which was most likely not of this world. So yeah, there are aliens creating this, but not on the level of technology. That is just the image. Now, the one thing I must say is that when I look at the secret societies and at what they're doing, yeah, that desire may have been there, but they have created artificial ways. Symbolism. You know, starving themselves half to death, taking drugs. That would open a door that would not have been naturally open to them. It was not born out of life, that connection, but it was. Somehow they got a back door into it. And they were not ready to receive what they did receive, the knowledge they did receive. So what was the desire that stretched out, and what was it connected to? Now, looking at this world, I would say it was the desire to have dominion, to rule over. And it connected to something that knew a way. Sons are the ways of how to achieve that. And the daughters of the desires of man were given, got married to the ways of the gods, which is the pyramid system. But as I said, I don't know, at the beginning, they may have, honest to God, thought, oh, we've connected to heaven, there are the gods, they are so much greater than us. So that thought in the first instance, I think, was in them. They are so much greater than us, we must be their servants, and we will be given our share of the power and the glory. They're not greater. This world is infinitely greater than that pyramid system, because it is a web that is working on cooperation, everything giving and receiving, that is infinitely greater than the pyramid thought. And that is how our energy should naturally flow. That is how it did flow in the hospitals before the pyramid was built on top of them. So, really, people should make up their minds. Is this a spiritual matrix, a divine matrix, a spiritual matrix? Or is this a matrix made by technology? Yeah? And when you say biotechnology, then you look at the thought of aliens as other solid beings that come in spaceships, that have technology, that give us the knowledge of technology, and everything is actually created by that. On a higher level, you'd say, no, those are other consciousnesses that have a knowledge of the flow of spiritual energy. Then you become the AI, the artificial intelligence. You become the machine that is creating the energy, and you're becoming the point inside of the pyramid that is giving and receiving energy in the wrong way. And then we become the spiritual beings that are actually building our own prison. So, and then we are not looking at aliens that bring technology, but we're actually dealing with spiritual wickedness in high places, spiritual knowledge in high places that is directing the energy of man. Anyway, yeah, as I said, I really wish they would turn away from that, looking at the image, and they would go back to their original path. And that is thinking of this as a spiritual place, a divine matrix, and us as spiritual beings, then really channeling our thoughts down that path and see what that actually means. How do our energies work? How are they created? Where are we giving them to? And there's the last thing I want to say, and that is I'm already going further with this, and I'm beginning to think myself, how far can I go with this? Because I really think that this spiritual energy, as beings in a body, that amplifies that energy, and we could be potentially extremely powerful beings, and I mean physically powerful. Far more so than, those that are just in consciousness without a material reality. And now I'm beginning to think, even if I go down the path of that thought, should I actually say it? I've heard other channels saying, there's so much we want to tell you, but there is knowledge that should not be in the wrong hands. And I'm beginning to think that myself. For a while there, I thought, they, them, we, the ones that identify as we, they, them. I'm not telling them anything that they don't know already. And it's like we are playing catch up. They already know that, and we are playing catch up, and I think it's the other way around. They allow these openings from time to time so that this knowledge would come out of us, and we're going to speak the words. And I said, they keep building images then to direct our intention, whilst they look at the spiritual truth of that. They do that. They are on a spiritual path, a very crooked one, but they are on a spiritual path. And then this is a time where they gather the next load of gold, the next load of knowledge, spiritual knowledge, and then they are going to implement it again. Yeah? Whilst we blabbed all these things out, not really knowing what we were saying, and forever in darkness, they will implement this new round of spiritual knowledge to build back better. So, really, who should we be talking to? If we have an awakening, or we have thoughts that could create outcomes, that if we believe on it could become a reality. So who should that knowledge be given to? Where are those that would come together to can be trusted with those thoughts? And I really don't know at the moment. I'm still on my own. I found nobody, that I could share with, other than on the internet, yes, but, how much can you say? If it reaches the wrong ears. Ears that are actually well capable of hearing, whereas a lot of others don't. They can't hear. So who am I talking to? Anyway, there you go. I'll think about that a bit, and I really wish I would find somebody else that I know who it is I'm talking to. Anyway, I'll leave it at that for today, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.